What is going on, everybody? This is Over the Ropes. I'm Tyler.
What's going on? I'm Cortland.
And today we got your Raw review for January 20th, 2025, Monday Night Raw.
Can't
Uh,
believe we're already 3 weeks into the year, man.
I know, right? One of those,
Cruising.
yeah, years fly by and the days go slow. You know what I mean?
Well
Um,
said.
We don't have any notes this week, so instead we're going to do a quick review of Genesis, and then we're going to jump straight into our Raw review because we both watched it. So what did you think of Genesis?
I thought it was pretty solid. I think kind of towards the end, I don't remember what match it was. I think it was the oh my god, what's her name? Rosemary versus
Masha
Masha Slamovich.
Slamovich. Yeah.
I kind of started to pull away. I don't know if it was a little late. I'd had a pretty long day. I think that's the only one that really kind of lost me a bit. But I was all in on Joe Henry. That's most of the reason I purchased it.
Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty neat. I thought Fraxium showing up was pretty neat.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for the Hardy Boys. That's nostalgia for me. That's some of my initial passion in wrestling. So that was it was really neat. I think TNA has a bright future, and I think we're looking at a time where they could be the new two in the wrestling industry, and I would love if they were. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. How about you?
Man, I say his name and he appears, man. Joe Hendry, all in, 100%.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody and I said, it's funny that I love Joe Hendry so much, and this might be the first TNA pay per view I ever ordered, and he wins the belt. And like obviously,
Yep.
we all figured there was a chance since he lost that Bound for Glory, but
Yep.
my only issue with the show was I felt like they shouldn't have put NXT on the banner. I know they just announced like the partnership contractually, but I
Yep.
feel like for having Fraxium come out and Cora Jade come out, like those are two good gets, and like that's gonna
Yep.
be fun. But that I don't think that's enough to be putting NXT on your banner.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
You would expect a little more.
right? It felt a little false advertising.
I think I heard today too they had some guys on the pre-show, which I definitely didn't watch, but I feel like Tommy Dreamer alluded to having the dude who keeps trying to
Yeah, it
seduce.
was it was Adonis. He had a
Yes, Ashante. Yeah.
yeah, Shante Adonis. He had a an open challenge, and Jake something came out and beat him. Uh,
So
but yeah, I mean, the show was good, dude. I mean, here's the thing, right? It was Jordan Grace's last show for
that
TNA.
match was awesome.
Yeah, it was Josh Alexander's last match for TNA.
Yeah.
The Jordan Grace Tessa Blanchard match was incredible. We all know Tessa's history.
Really good.
I don't know
Yeah.
her personally, but she's a hell of a wrestler.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the heat on her just makes all those matches so much more interesting.
They're must see because you want to see someone really smack her lips off her face. You know.
Yeah. So that match was incredible. Seeing the Hardys, both of them were just on Chris Van Fleet's show. Both of them were talking about how were desperately want to be heels, and I noticed they're calling themselves.
Really.
Yeah, and they were both calling themselves the Go and the Walking Legends and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if they're trying to slowly veer that way. Like,
Oh no.
yeah, like they both really want to be heels. Matt had talked about that right when he left AEW, or Jeff. One of them had done another interview I watched where they were talking about how they wanted to be heels in AEW and couldn't really get there as a team. And they did an interview after the show where Matt was like, yeah, you guys are, talking about the Rascals. He's like, you guys are probably as good as we were, in like 2000 and like just very.
Yeah, that's a good take.
Yeah. So like that'll be fun to watch. Slamovich and Cora Jade's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
You know,
I wasn't super surprised when this announcement came out because Masha was at NXT on Tuesday, so that kind of made me think, hey, something's happening here.
Yep.
I feel like they waited a while, even though this was already kind of happening. I don't know,
No,
but regardless, I'm happy it's official.
I think last year was a test run, and they
Yep.
both must have been happy enough to make it. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, man. Genesis was good. We were originally gonna stream it, but that was my fault for speaking before I had all the information. There's a lot of YouTube stuff to get around when it comes to streaming live, so that was on me. We didn't stream it. I'm gonna try to
All good.
get stuff figured out to do some kind of stream for Saturday night's main event, but I'm not promising anything because you know saw how that went for me last weekend. But yeah, so NXT was good. I will say I'll definitely gonna be start watching the weekly shows more. Obviously, we're not gonna do a review or anything for them, at least right now. But if they're incorporating NXT, like Fraxim defending their titles next week, I'll definitely watch, and we'll probably talk about it before SmackDown on Friday.
Yeah.
So, all right, man, let's get into this Raw review. What did you think of the show overall?
Pretty solid. I think eventually we had to come off of our high that we reached on the debut, but I
Right.
still think it was solid. Looking through my notes, there's a few matches, a few spots in different matches I was really interested in. I'm really interested in this. I feel like Sami Zayn was someone who was kind of planted throughout the show and someone to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was pretty solid.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, they've done this the last maybe since the Netflix start, but I liked how they're telling the history of like they were in Dallas, so it was like
Oh, how many
Dallas,
times they've been in that city?
yeah,
Yes,
stuff like
I'm loving
that.
these stats.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's cool. I like that. So I mean, Raw starts off instantly with Rhea getting jumped by Nia, just beat down.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Walking in.
just right away gets bulldozed. And here's the thing. I desperately need these brand splits to stay hard brand splits because I am massively pro brand splits. I
Yep.
need because we see every time they try to make it one brand, it doesn't work. When you have people like Cody and Roman and just people that need to be on top, it does not give other people the chance.
Yeah.
Not when you have that heavy of such a heavy main event. So they need a brand split, and they need like I don't know why Nia was on Raw, and it did mildly bug me.
Yeah. Well, Bailey's been on all three shows, sort of
Right,
as of late.
but
So
they at least they
I think we're kind of in
announced.
this awkward phase with
Yeah,
the what's it called? The transfer portal,
portal.
kind
Yeah,
of like in college. Yeah.
yeah. So after that, Wade Barrett's replacing Pat this week, which was notable to me
Ah. Yeah,
because
because there's someone else who could have filled that void. Yeah, I
right,
noticed that right away.
right. Supposedly he's gonna be on NXT tonight. I heard
Really?
reports that he was supposed to be there tonight. So
97 minutes and we'll find out, boy.
yeah, no kidding. So hopefully he
All right.
is. Hopefully
Interesting.
everything's good, but we'll see how it
Ooh,
goes.
I
Yeah,
cannot wait to see.
yeah. So Jay starts off on Raw, comes out
What a pop.
every week, just
He
every week.
blew the roof off that place.
Yeah,
And just like I was saying on the SmackDown review, I love that he keeps tailoring his T-shirt to wherever they are. This
yeah,
time,
yeah.
it was the Dallas Stars, and I think that's just like that's great for merch. I can't imagine the merch that guy's pushing right now.
It
And
has
I
to
don't
be
think if you
nuts.
look back like 4 or 5 years ago, there's not a chance anyone can look at me with a straight face and say they knew that Jey Uso was going to be one of the top guys in merch sales. But
No, no,
oh, brother, is he ever?
absolutely not. No, but yeah,
Yeah.
his merch is crazy. So Cena selling those shirts for each city he goes to.
Yep.
The checks of those are gonna be racking. Jay comes out,
Super John.
instantly gets interrupted by Gunther, and
Yep.
I am telling you, my favorite Gunther of all time is trolling Gunther. just the talking down and talking shit to his opponent is my favorite Gunther. Gunther
And
calls.
he really laid into Jay.
Oh,
My first note says, man, he just cuts Jay down
I know.
over and over.
He calls him a funny little man.
Yeah.
He tells Jay he was excited to wrestle him last week, but he came out looking like a dork in a company mascot. He said he might as well be wrestling Jimmy Uso. Like,
Yeah.
ooh. And they're hammering this. You and Jay might as well be interchangeable still, which is just gonna rake at Jay.
Yeah.
Gunther calls Jay a useful idiot, and tells Jay that his words and actions don't align, which is true. I mean, Jay tells Gunther he respects him, but Gunther needs to respect Jay. Jay says he reminds Gunther that only one of them's ever main event in WrestleMania, and it was not Gunther. And Gunther instantly plows into him.
I wrote that one down because I really got under his skin. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Jay gets the upper hand, super kicks Gunther out of the ring, lays the championship in between them, and then Gunther grabs the belt and hightails it out of there. Good segment. Solid segment.
Yeah.
And for anybody who's watched every episode we've done, Attic has still been watching Raw and SmackDowns with me. He hasn't been on the show because he doesn't feel like he has much to say right now. He'll probably join us for the pay-per-view reviews, have like a 3-man booth per se for the pay-per-views. But for right now, he's just watching, trying to get introduced to the characters and the storylines and stuff like that. But it was very noticeable from that segment. He was questioning if Jay was going to win the title on Saturday. So
I think there's a very real possibility. I think I don't know. At first when they made this match, I'm like, nah, but like he's just over like Rover. And part of me wonders, like, do we do it? But then I'm also like, well, if we do, then who does Jay face?
Right.
But I think Jay versus Roman could be awesome. I don't know, man. I kind of want to pull the trigger. But it also feels weird to have such a short reign for Gunther after looking at his NXT UK title reign and his Intercontinental title reign. Is like, is it possible for this guy to not be a champ for a whole year? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's a weird concept.
I mean, it's hard, right? Because Goldberg's in the waiting somewhere, but you can't have Goldberg and Gunther, or Goldberg be Gunther. I mean, you can't do that.
No.
If Jay were to beat him, it has to be Jay and Sami, right?
No, it's another great match.
Yeah, I mean that's what it would. I feel like storyline wise would have to be. And then what are you going to have Jay just win the belt at Mania and then instantly lose it? Or win it right before the Rumble and then lose it at Mania? It's kind of what they did to Bray with his first title run. He won his first title at Elimination Chamber.
He won it at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, and then lost it to Randy. Yeah.
Yeah, and that did kind of take the one out of his sales. But, I mean, he just did that with the Intercontinental belt, too. I mean, he only had it for 7 weeks, I think. But,
right.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could at least, defend against Sami and against Roman. Yeah. And then maybe Jacob Fatu. But then you're just stuck in the same story still, so.
Right.
Drew's another one. That would make a lot of sense.
Drew is another one that would make sense, yeah.
I just feel like he's got the rocket strapped to his back, and I feel like people keep waiting too long to capitalize on these things.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's at least food for thought, and that's more than you could have said a couple weeks and months ago. So
that's fair.
The fact that we're talking about it this much is great. A great sign.
You're at least questioning it. Yeah, I agree with that. Then we have the New Day segment with JBL.
This cracked me up.
This was so damn funny. They tried to bribe JBL with the $2 bill to like talking good about them on commentary. JBL pretty much
acolyte for your boys. Dude, that killed me when he said that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. JBL pretty much tells him, "Hey, I don't blame you. Everybody loves Big E a lot more than you guys. I would have done the same shit."
Yep.
Oh, they get all mad. So we have Rey Mysterio versus Kofi. First note, so they changed this damn match again. It was.
Yes, and I wrote a note next to that. There is something you skipped though.
Oh, was there? What was it?
Very quick, but they had a segment with Bayley, and she
No, that's
officially
next.
announced.
That's next.
Oh,
After
really?
Ray does his entrance, they go to commercial, and then
Oh,
Bailey. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
my
yeah.
bad. That's my
No,
bad.
no, no. It's good. But go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going with it.
So she officially declared that she's now on Raw. She
Mm-hmm.
did transfer.
Yep.
She declared for the Royal Rumble,
Mm-hmm.
and another note I just kind of thought was funny. So Nia ends up interrupting her, and I noticed that the mic wasn't working. And I wrote, "That's fine because no one wants to listen to her bullshit anyways."
Yeah.
Thought that was kind of fitting. Anywho, carry on. It looks like we did get to Ray versus Kofi with
Mm-hmm.
JBL at the commentary table.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if they kept putting this off because it ended up just being a singles match. And wasn't this originally announced as a tag team match?
With the mystery partner. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's got to be something going on with Woods because they put it off for what 2 or 3 weeks, and then it ended up just being a singles. So all I can think is something must happen to Xavier.
Maybe, or it was supposed to be Penta, and then they said, "Oh, let's not put him with
Scrapped
the."
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they probably saw the feedback where we're all like, "Please don't bury him and just stick him in the LWO like a bunch of generic,
Uh huh.
stereotypical." Yeah.
Yep.
Well, props on them for actually listening
Yeah.
to fan base.
Yep. I mean, New Day comes out, their old song instantly starts, and Kofi gets pissed right
Well,
off
I
the
got pissed,
bat.
so I'm glad they addressed it because I was like, why the fuck would you have Big E in your entrance if you
Uh
just
huh.
turned on him? So
Right.
I'm glad that they addressed the elephant in the room. I'm excited to see what they have for music next
Yeah.
week.
No, and that's the creative thing that Triple H does. Like Vince would have just had them come out with a new song. No, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. They came out, Big E's voice, and they're instantly like, "Nah, what the hell are you doing? No,
Yeah.
nah." I like that. That's great. Kofi says the fans are pissing him off and calls JBL a fraud and takes his $2 back. I was laughing so damn hard. Um, I don't have a lot for the actual match, but I did know I love the change in attire with Kofi and Woods,
Yep.
with the jeans and the
And the beard.
Nikes. Yeah, and the beard and just shirtless with jeans. Like I was
Yep.
into the look. I was into the aesthetic that their change. Like uh
Yep.
JBL talking shit about Ray the whole match.
Yeah.
Michael Cole even called him out. He's like, "You're just mad he retired you still."
I thought that was a great callback.
Yeah,
Yep.
yep, yep. Ray goes for the 619. Woods grabs his leg. The ref tries to eject Woods till Ray takes him out. Mysterio gets the roll up win, and the New Day jump him until the LWO come to make it the save. Would you?
Kind of a neat spot. Kofi was going for the SOS,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that was a neat way to work it into a pin.
Right.
Um, it was fine. It did what it needed to. Thought Ray looked a little quicker in this one than he has in his last few matches, which I thought was neat.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, fast paced match. Xavier immediately jumped on him after.
Yep.
And then what did I say? New Day retreats, and then they circled back with a sneak attack after they ran out,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
was a great heel move. I'm still kind of adjusting to them as a heel. For me, I think Xavier, I could see heel all over, but it's still hard for me to process Xavier, or excuse me, Kofi
Right.
as a heel.
Yeah.
But I love it. I think it's going great. And we'll see what's next for these guys.
Yeah, I liked the heel move in coming back around, but I also feel like they made Wild look like a dork, just running up from behind him like that, hitting him and taking
Yeah.
off. Like, you
Yeah.
fool. Did you see Dragon Lee on Twitter?
No, I didn't.
Dragon Lee commented something like, I don't know, something about how that was bullshit or something. And Kofi goes, "Well, if you or Zelina actually showed up for work, you guys might be able to do something about it." I was like, damn.
Yeah, they're good at tripping online.
Uh huh. Then we get the.
I'm
Oh,
curious
go
when
on.
Big E gets roped back into this.
I mean, I said this not on the show, I don't think. I said this to actually a couple people that I feel like that segment was one of two things. Either E got cleared and they're getting ready for a return, or E decided he's done and he's retiring. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the next time we see he's either coming out to like his return, or he's coming out for some kind of like retirement speech. So
Man, I hope he's in the Rumble.
that would if he got cleared and he's coming back and he feels safe to come back, that storyline is going to make him into a mega baby face.
Enormous.
Enormous. The pop when his music hits is going to be nuts.
Yep.
Nuts.
I'm here for it. Feed it to me.
Yeah. So after the match, we get the Gable interview. Gable says Dom's going to help him learn how to beat luchadors, and then all of American Made essentially start calling out for the belts. Ivy Nile, the Intercontinental title, and the Creeds, the tag titles.
Yep.
I'd like to see the Creeds wrestle more.
Yeah, I thought we would see a lot more of them, and I think when they first came up, I feel like they did wrestle a few times, and they just...
They might be the people to take the belts off the War Raiders if it's not going to be the New Day.
Yeah, if they can heat them up here.
Yeah.
There's no reason they can't.
Yeah.
But they're great wrestlers. I think Julius is fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know this is like probably something that people like frown upon you saying nowadays because, you know, you're kind of putting somebody down. But, like, Julius is the edge of the group. The Jeff Hardy of the group.
Yeah.
The Bubba Dudley. You know what I'm saying?
The Shawn Michaels.
Right. There's always the one in the tag team.
Yep.
So
and it's him.
It's definitely him. Sami comes out, announces he's in the Rumble. Says...
What a card already. What a group for the Rumble.
Starting next year, they're going to end up having to go to 40.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, they're so, like, unless you're fine with just so many people not even getting a chance to be in the Rumble, like, you're inevitably going to have to go to 40. And frankly, they should anyways, because the 140-man Royal Rumble, you had Del Rio as your champ. Ugh.
Yeah. Ugh. You got to fix that memory.
Ugh. And I went to that Mania, and I was so damn mad when he won that Rumble. Sami says he was thinking about him and Seth's conversation, and he said that made him to start thinking about what he wants. And he says, so I take my notes as I'm watching the show. So he says he doesn't need the world title because of the fans, and I instantly put in quotation mark, loser.
What a classic baby.
What a chump. He says that
you guys on my title.
Huh?
Them cheering for him is his championship.
Yeah, right. He says he doesn't need it, but he wants it, and he's going to take it. And then Kevin Owens comes out instantly. I'm like, oh, yeah. This segment was so damn good. It was
so manipulative. KO did really good with this.
So manipulative and so good. Because Kevin, when he's really, like, putting it down, you know he's threatening you. You know what I'm saying? And Kevin Owens coming out... You know, Sami goes, oh, it's just a matter of time. I expected this. Like, you know, what are we going to do because of what you did to Cody? And Kevin says, no. He said, you and Cody are two different situations. He said, I'm not mad at you. You forgave Roman because Roman's your friend. You've forgiven me how many times? Because we're friends. I've done a lot worse than Roman has, and you've forgiven me. And Kevin says, I know you can, and I know you will win the Rumble because you deserve to. And you have the talent to. And then he starts talking about them wrestling at WrestleMania, kind of like he did to Ray. And he says, I know I'm going to beat Cody because I know you're going to have my back. Just like you had Roman's back when you needed him, and you guys
What
are
a dagger.
what a dick
Oh,
move.
man.
And he's like,
Yep.
you and Roman are friends. We're brothers. So I
Yep.
know when I need your help, you're going to be there. And the look on Sammy's face of like, oh shit.
Yep.
Standing O. What
Yep.
what a damn segment.
Yeah, I thought that was solid. I feel like they very slowly kind of hinted at, is there a turn here for Sammy? And the
Mm-hmm.
first few times they've done it, I'm like, come on, man, it's Sami Zayn. He can't be a heel. But then you do this segment with KO, and I was like, oh man, like you can, and it makes sense. Seth telling him, hey man, like you need to focus on you. Like that that gets it started right there. I think maybe we see Sammy going a little psycho heel run here, and maybe KO and Sammy now as a heel tag team. But I like that he said that they've made evented as a tag team. Do you think that match is actually good enough to headline a WrestleMania 1v1?
If the title's on the line, yes.
I think so too. I think that we're in an era where we appreciate great wrestlers and not just big chiseled dudes. I think that in the Triple H era, this is something that can headline a show, and there's so much story there.
Yeah, I mean that's what it comes down to. It doesn't matter what you look like; it matters the story, and they have
Yep.
the story. We were talking about this with Jay, and the best thing right now about Raw, especially, is you have Jay and you have Sammy that you're like they can win the belt, and I would be okay with
Yeah,
it.
there's so many avenues here. There's so many great Mania and Royal Rumble scenarios, and I can't make up my mind on which one's best.
Exactly. So like that's how you know you have good storytelling because you're like,
Yeah.
man, I don't want to see Gunther lose right now. I want his title run to continue, but we want to see Punk main event that Mania. So how's he gonna
Yep.
do that? But, I mean, Seth, look at what he's gone through the last few years. Seth deserves something big. And then you're
Yep.
like, look what happened to Drew last year. Like, Drew needs to get his comeuppance. And then you're like,
Yep.
Sammy and Jay, both, so there's just so many ways to go. Sheamus interview. It says Saturday night's going to be the night he finally wins that IC title. Dude, I don't know if it's just me. Maybe I'm paying more attention because of the podcast. But these little, comments from wrestlers these last few weeks have had me on the floor. This is the second week in a row Braun Breaker's called Sheamus an old ass man to some degree.
Yep. Yep.
And that had me dying. Breaker tells Sheamus to look at the belt because that's the closest he's ever going to get. And Breaker's going to beat his ass like the old man he is. Sheamus shoves him and Breaker just walks off laughing.
Yep.
I didn't.
He seems so unthreatened by Sheamus, which is so hard to say. Like, Sheamus is such a big, intimidating dude, and Braun is just like,
Yeah,
I feel like Braun is very confident.
Mm-hmm.
His promos have gotten so much better.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's really smooth for someone his age. I feel like he has made rapid improvements by leaps and bounds.
He's so incredible. He's so good.
Yep.
Paul Heyman was on Logan Paul's podcast last week, Impulsive.
Yep.
And he brought Braun Breaker up, and he said, that kid has no idea the star he's going to be in a couple of years if he listens to the right people.
Well, and he's working with him a lot, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Pretty evident.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah.
Yep. For anybody who didn't listen to that podcast, Paul Heyman and Logan talk about the first night that Paul Heyman met him, or talked to him. And Roman had a match. I don't know what match, they didn't say. Or somebody from the bloodline. And Heyman calls Logan over, and he was like, I was like, oh shit. Paul Heyman, this is the first time me and Paul Heyman got to talk. Paul Heyman leaned in and said, top that motherfucker, and just walked off.
That's awesome.
And he said, yeah, I wanted you to go out there and prove something to me. That's exactly what you did. So he was like, yep. So I wonder if it was the Rumble. Roman had that 4-way match, and then Logan went out there with Ricochet, and so
Bam, meet in the middle.
what a spot. So after, listen, I didn't think Sheamus was going to win. I think Sheamus is going to win now.
I've thought this every time it's about to happen, and I feel like this is the first time I'm like, he's gonna lose again. I feel like it's gonna have to be on a bigger stage when it happens, but I also feel like they need something to change hands here on Sunday night's main event. I know we just crowned a new champ, but to me that doesn't really count because it was going to be a first time,
Right.
new champ either way.
Mm-hmm.
So I see both sides of the coin, but I don't know. I feel like I'm starting to lose hope in it finally happening.
I'm a little bummed because I thought it would be good to have him do it at Mania. But
Yeah, I thought he was going to win that triple threat at Mania a couple years ago. I thought that was the time.
yeah, me too. I love Sammy, but I thought Sammy taking off Gunther was a bad choice. He didn't need it. They should have just had Braun do it or Jay. I mean, obviously they couldn't have Jay do it because it was Jay and Jimmy. But if you were gonna do it at Mania, you should just have Braun beat him, or somebody who like could have benefited off that more than what Sammy did with it.
Yeah.
So, next we have Nia Jax and Bayley. Roxanne Perez is in the crowd, which Bayley's going to be on NXT tonight. So,
Yep.
yeah. And that Bayley kicking off the ropes into the DDT while she was on Nia's shoulders, that was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah. Bayley gets in Roxanne's face. Roxanne tries to slap Bayley. Bayley catches it and smacks the shit out of her.
That was awesome.
Lays it into her. And then Roxanne gets pulled out of the arena. The sunset flip on the apron.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Yep. Bayley was getting a loud chants. Loud let's go Bayley chants.
Yeah. Nia is very hateable, so.
Nia is very hateable. The two notes I made is one, Nia's matches, as much as people aren't into her, rightfully so, frankly, her matches have been a lot better since she's come back the second time around.
Yep.
A lot.
I also noted that as much as I love to, shit all over anything she does because she drives me fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I wrote down she looked dominant early. She had a really nice blitz at the end, and I was like, obviously I didn't know in the moment it was the last minute of that match, but I was like, man, she's able to hang and have some long matches. Mm-hmm. And she's shown some great stamina. If I'm not mistaken, she was the first one in at Survivor Series, and I was like, Nia's going to go this whole match. But she's looked great. She never looks like she's struggling. She's holding up in these long matches.
Yeah.
And she's doing great. And she had a nice blitz at the end of that match. And it reminded me of some of these, guys like Braun Strowman and Carmelo Hayes or Sami Zayn, guys who can just go and go and go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She was doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I marked down the sunset power bomb off the top.
Yeah, that was
Bayley.
nasty.
And I noted Bayley was doing a lot of power moves against Nia.
I saw that too.
A lot of power moves, and to me, I feel like knowing what we know of Bayley, I feel like she was trying to show that Nia can do what she needs to do to have a good match. Because, like you said, Nia was on a roll for a little bit, but Bayley was killing her with some of these power moves, and Nia really had to sell this match, and she was doing it. Nia ends up winning with the Annihilator, which, as good of a match as she had, I don't know if it was the camera angle, but I mean, she very clearly landed on her feet before. It was a bad
Usually
camera
it
angle.
looked a lot better than it did. I think this time she just pulled up. Oh, I don't know. It could have been the cameras, but I did unfortunately notice that too.
Yeah, I was a little bummed. I thought Bayley should have won. This is her first night on Raw, transfer portal thing, and then she gets beat by Nia instantly. If you were going to have her lose, it should have been more because of Roxanne. You know what I'm saying? So, Rhea comes out and attacks Nia. Pull apart brawl, because we know Triple H loves them pull apart brawls.
Loves the pull apart brawls.
Loves them. And then Rhea challenges Nia to Saturday night's main event. Overall, good segment. I like that Gunther has a match at Saturday night's main event. Cody's gonna have the match at the Rumble. Rhea has a match Saturday night's main event, so I'm assuming Tiffany's gonna have a match at the Rumble. You know what I'm saying? Now it's a little bummer that means Gunther and Rhea, or Gunther's not gonna be on the show. You know Rhea's gonna get on the show somehow, even if it's just a backstage segment.
Backstage.
But at least they're trying to split some shit up, and so that's not bad. I like that they're doing this.
Yep.
This next segment. This isn't my thought. This is somebody else's thought from Twitter. I don't remember who it was. Dom gives Gable a piece of paper and says, "I got somebody that can help." They say Finn's not going to be there next week, so Dom steps in. It's going to be Dom and JD versus the War Raiders. And the pettiness continuing between Liv and Finn.
Oh yeah, man, that's boiling. I can't wait for this to blow over finally.
JD's over it. You can just tell. He's like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. Liv's still clearly mad at Dom, and Dom in denial. He says he has something.
Oblivious.
Yeah, just so oblivious. He says he has something planned. Even though he knows Liv's not mad, he still has something planned to make it up for her. She says she knows. They walk off. Carlito puts his head on Rhea's arm, and she shrugs him off.
So funny.
So funny. So, I don't remember exactly what he said. But Dom said something about, like, dark arts or something like that. When...
Did he?
Huh?
Did he? I missed that.
Yeah. When JD was like, what was that? And he's like, something about dark art, something. But somebody noted that that's the name of the school that Black and Zelina run.
Yep.
So,
Oh, man.
Yeah?
Oh, man. Could you imagine?
Black and Gable? Black and Dom? I mean,
damn. Could you imagine Black now running that stable instead of Finn?
Oh.
Because we were talking about this. There you go. There's your fit.
Mm-hmm.
Black and Dom. That's interesting.
Black, Dom, JD.
And what's funny is that could, in a roundabout way, well, I was going to say pin Black against Zelina. LWO versus...
maybe, or they just kick both Liv and Finn out, and then like start a whole new Judgment Day, and Zelina could be part of that. So it could be like Zelina, and you know what I'm saying?
You got options.
Yes, yeah, and I don't. They said something that made me think.
I'm gonna have to rewind and go back now because I'm really curious.
What if they do Dom versus Penta Mania?
Yeah, that'd be dope.
That would be sweet, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who Penta... I actually wrote that down. Who's Penta going to face at Mania?
Dom's not a bad choice.
No. He can sell like $1 million. He can have a great long match.
Mm-hmm. He tries to
and he can be an absolute heat magnet.
Right. They have a video package for Lyra as a new Intercontinental Champion. It's a good video package. I like that, like, you can't have everybody on every week with the size of these rosters. So I like that they're doing these, and they're different every single time. These video packages for the people. Lyra's not on this week. Let's get her a video package. Gunther's not on this week. Let's get him a video package going. And they're always different. And I like that because at least you're still keeping these people on the show.
On the forefront of your mind.
Right. Sami runs into Seth backstage. He tells me he appreciates his talk. Seth says he's rooting for Sami, but first chance he gets, he's tossing his ass out of the Rumble, which is good. I like that they're real people, you know? With Vince, it seemed like somebody's just going to turn just because, ooh, like now they're just a bad guy, or ooh, now they're just a good guy. These people have reasons. They're not good or bad necessarily. They're kind of in between. And, like, they have real human reactions to things that happen, you
Yeah,
know?
real emotional responses to stuff.
Mm-hmm. Then we
Yep,
get
and it's
Pete.
making the stories more like empathetic, and you attach to them.
Yeah, yeah, and you care more. And then we
Yeah,
got Pete Dunne versus Penta. 2 weeks in a row of Penta. Yes.
yeah.
He
I was super glad to see him on back to back.
he might be my favorite wrestler on Raw right now. Him and Dom.
I think he was who I was most excited to see when they announced that. I was like, "When's the Penta match? When's the Penta match?"
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was itching to get to that.
You know, we talked right before last week's Raw, and in text, and you said the fear is that they don't do Penta right. They shove him in with LWO. They mix him in with Legado or something like that.
Yeah.
They have done Penta so right
Yep.
these
And
2 weeks.
I was nervous he wasn't gonna maybe use as much of his move set, but 2 weeks, two Mexican destroyers.
Yep.
Color me happy. Let's go.
Penta and Dunn go straight in with the chops and kicks. That
Yep.
handstand drop kick into the corner again, which I wrote down
Yep.
was so damn cool. The Mexican Destroyer, which Dunn rolls out of the ring. When Penta dove over the top onto the floor, he got so much damn air.
He flew, dude.
Flew. I was like, holy crap.
Yep.
Dude, so much air. Penta went to do the no fear thing, and Dunn instantly grabs his hand to start.
That was awesome. I was waiting for that moment because of Pete Dunne's,
Yep.
digit breaking
Yeah.
ways.
He does that a little too much. That's my one thing.
Yeah,
It's
but if
like,
ever there was someone to do it to, this was it.
no. I'm talking about, yeah, for sure. But like,
Yeah.
again, it's nitpicky, but like, you don't need to do that 6 times in a match.
Yep.
Like, Penta ends up winning with the Penta driver. I had to. I said Penta's already selling more than he ever did his whole time in AEW.
For real though, you're not kidding.
It's been selling so good. Like,
Yeah, everything's been great about his
no,
matches.
nope. We get a
The other
low.
move I wrote down
Ooh,
was that deadlift power bomb
ooh,
backbreaker.
yeah,
Is brutal, man. I
brutal,
never want to take that.
brutal. I like that they're letting these guys wrestle just their style. I mean, still
Yeah.
WWE. It's still safer than most places, but they're letting them branch off more into their style.
I also really appreciated the callback to the only other time they fought. I like that they're actually acknowledging history. They talked about how they fought. God, what was it? Revolver Pro. What was it called?
I didn't.
It doesn't sound right.
Yeah,
Revolution Pro.
maybe.
I think, but they acknowledged that they had fought before, and I was like,
Yeah,
thank you for
yeah.
acknowledging that anything happened outside of this
Right.
company.
Yeah. No, they're doing a good job with that. Then we get the Logan Paul video package. They announce he's going to be on next week's show. I'm shocked it took them
About
this long.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, they did the whole hand thing in the promo. And in my notes, I said, dude, he needs a better finisher. He's so athletic, and he can do all the moves. A
Yep.
punch is not a good finisher for him. What?
Not for a dude that's his size, frame, and ability. Big Show, great finisher.
Right.
Logan Paul, bad finisher.
Exactly.
I
Absolutely.
agree.
So they announced Logan's going to be on the show next week. They announced a tag title match. Cody's going to be on Raw next week, which I'm sure will
Aaron
be
Georgia.
him and Sammy. Something with him and Sammy.
Yep.
They had a really weird transition here. Like, they were announcing the stuff, and then Punk started coming out. And,
Yeah.
again, Addict's been watching it with me, and he was like, oh, hey, Punk's here. And I was like, wait, is that him coming out, or is that, like, a little thing for, like, next week? I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
no, he's coming out now. Okay. Um, and yeah, so
And
Punk
they
comes.
did the interview in the crowd, which I think was new. I don't know that I've seen this.
So
I liked it, but
it looks like where they've been doing interviews because the other countries don't have commercials. It's just the United States. And during those times, they're doing interview segments, and it looks like that's where they've been doing them from.
gotcha.
Like if you see on Twitter, they keep showing stuff from like Cross and Scarlett having an interview that we didn't see.
Yep.
That's because that's while we're in commercial, and I think they've been doing them from there.
Oh. Speaking of Cross, I know you already talked about this. Did you see at the end of Sammy and Seth talking out back? Is that who was standing behind them? Was that Karrion Cross?
Yeah, I
He's
missed
so
it.
creepy, man.
I missed it. I actually saw that on Twitter after the
Ah,
fact.
gotcha.
That's why I don't have
Okay.
it written down because I completely missed
Ah,
it. Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
saw it, but I couldn't really tell. But I was just like, man, that dude's a creep.
He's so creepy. When Sammy and
Yeah.
Miz were like going face to face last week, and he's just sitting there cheesing, like
Yeah.
I love. He's so good though. This Punk interview was okay. It wasn't his best in my opinion. Just says he's gonna throw people out. You know, it says he can't see Cena winning. The best part was it said put Hogan in the Rumble so he can throw his dusty ass over the top.
That is the only thing I wrote down about this promo was I'm glad he called out Hogan and said he'd throw his dusty ass out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
He
that crowd went nuts. They ate it alive.
he did mention calling in favors,
Yep.
so we'll see if
I'm telling you,
that comes into
Roman's
play.
going to have to eliminate himself. He's going to win the Rumble. I really think so. I
Who?
feel like, I
Punk?
think Punk's going to win the Rumble. I think the writing's on the wall. I think that's the favor he's going to call in. It's going to involve Roman getting eliminated somehow and Punk winning, is my feeling.
Yeah, I'm torn between Punk and Cena, and I need to decide quick, but
Pick'ems are coming.
Pick'em's coming, that's for sure. Then we got PFC Pure Fusion
Collective.
Collective. I always get it
What
mixed
a
up.
terrible fucking name. That might be the all-time worst.
But
Tag
PFC's
team
not
name.
bad though. I will say that. The full name's terrible, but I'm just calling them PFC for now on because that's so much better. Versus Damage Control, man, that team just can't stay healthy. As soon as somebody comes back, somebody else gets injured.
Yep.
Like, and they're so
And it's
good
nonstop.
and
Yeah.
nonstop. Yeah. I said first thing I have on here. I'm not even that big of a fan of Stark, but what a fucking missile drop kick from the top rope. Holy shit.
I wrote one thing in all caps. Holy fucking dropkick.
Yeah.
Man, she knocked her silly. That was awesome, man. I don't know. I think that was different because she didn't go right off the corner. She went off to the side and actually jumped off the ropes.
Yeah.
And man, did she get some mustard on that thing.
And she like went downwards. It was that was a hell of a kick.
Best part of the match by a million.
So much. Dakota got some good kicks on Shayna. Io comes in and just starts laying it into both of them. I literally just wrote Io comes in, kicks both their asses. Io's on fire tonight. Io gets the pin.
Yep.
Like,
Io pretty much
cleaned house and just took everybody out. Io's so damn good. I don't think I appreciate Io as much as everyone else does, but she's so good. She's so good.
She's probably the best. I think she's probably the best female wrestler they have.
In ring wise,
Her
probably.
Charlotte,
Yeah. So, who, because they did the whole title thing with Rhea and Io picking it up at the same time, who would you prefer for Rhea Mania, Io or Bayley?
Ooh, Io probably.
Mm-hmm.
I love Bayley just fine, but I'm all aboard that Io train. I think that'd be a fun dynamic. Rhea, is a powerhouse, and Io can fly, dude. She's like a monkey.
Yeah.
Like she can just jump from anything. Like she's so athletic, man. She's a ton of fun to watch.
You know what I'd actually be down with, and I didn't think about this when I was asking that question. What if
What's
they
up?
have Rhea, Bayley, and Io? Because Bayley and
I'm here
Io
for it.
last year, and now
Yeah,
Rhea put in there, like that would be.
I love triple threat, so I'm cool with it.
I mean, nothing beats the WrestleMania 20. I know. I
I I think that's why I love triple threats because that's like that's one of my absolute favorite matches ever.
right.
I think that's my whole triple threat obsession. I really do.
Yeah, I mean that match was, and then they repeated it at Backlash. Triple H
Yeah,
taps out of Mania, Shawn at Backlash. Oh,
yeah.
so then we get the main event: Seth versus Drew. Seth instantly tells Drew that he's 100%, unlike they were at Mania. Drew keeps,
Both knees, he
yeah,
says.
both knees slapping the shit out of them. Drew
Yep.
keeps yelling at Seth that he's selfish. I love the shit talking during the match.
Yep.
They've been yanking up the mics on in the ring, and
Yeah.
it makes the matches so much better.
Well, yeah, it's a realistic thing. I mean, before
Mm-hmm.
you fight someone, you're in there talking shit the whole time.
Yep.
I think the mics are a little too hot because while Drew was yelling at him, you heard him go block, and I was
Oh,
like,
did you? I
oh
missed that.
yeah,
I missed
yeah.
that.
He was talking shit, and I'm pretty sure he was about to throw a punch that Seth blocked. And I went back and I watched it twice, and I was like, yeah, that mic's a little too high.
Ah, I missed that
But
one.
no, it's fine. I mean, I don't think 98% of the people that are watching this are going to understand what that was. But I was like,
Right.
but I also listen to my stuff very loud, so.
Right. The Falcon Arrow into the reverse driver.
That was so great. Seth is incredibly athletic to be able to do that. That's
Who?
a tough move.
I don't know if it
I was
was.
trying to remember the first person that ever did that to him. I can't remember who it was, but it absolutely blew my mind the first time I ever saw it.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was.
I don't remember either. I don't remember if this was said in our group chat or if I read it from Twitter or maybe I saw it in a video because there's so much wrestling that we absorb every
Take in.
day.
Yeah.
But somebody said Seth is this generation's HBK, and they're right. Like he doesn't have the flair that Shawn had, but everything else, especially like the in ring wise, is spitting image. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's a hell of a compliment.
It is because,
And
especially
it's
for me,
legit.
because we
Yep.
all,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I said in the notes, Seth looks really good tonight. He looked
Yes.
fast and crisp.
I also noted that. So I wrote down, I love the stiff chops to open the show. And Drew's ability to just eat a chop like he didn't just get slapped as hard as he possibly could. That dude just ate those.
Right.
It's been a while since Seth has done the triple suicide out of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
I looked back and I'm like, man, I feel like this is such a classic Seth Rollins thing.
Yep.
But man, when Drew caught him on that third one and hit the belly to belly onto the table,
Mm-hmm.
I ate that up.
Yeah. Yep.
And the knees, I wrote that he did look crisp, and I
Yeah.
felt like he was using his knees a lot more, which I feel like, 4 or 5 years ago was like a staple. That Revolution knee for a while was his big thing.
Yep.
I don't know what it was, but I just felt like Seth was in another gear on Raw.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because this kind of goes back to the the little comments where I was questioning myself. I was like, is this just because I'm like taking notes and like I'm more like aware during the show?
It's changing how I'm watching everything so much.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I thought about that.
Because I've always had really bad ADHD, and multitasking helps with that. So most of the time, like tonight, I'm gonna be watching NXT, but I'm gonna be like playing a game on the PlayStation too. You know what I'm saying?
I always am.
Something like that. So now when I'm
Yep.
like sitting at the computer watching, taking notes, I'm watching it so differently.
Same. I'm always playing Madden when I watch, and now that I'm taking the notes, I'm like, Oh man, I'm catching so many little details that
Yeah.
I'm missing all
Yeah.
the time.
Because, yeah, Seth
Um,
just, that was the best Seth has looked from my eyes in a long time.
yeah,
Um,
and I'm glad he finally freaking won a match.
yeah,
About time. Some good reversals, great back and forth in this match, and then just when it looked like Drew was ready to put him down, just a little jackknife, whoop whoop,
the
and rolls him
roll up
up.
again.
And he had about 2 seconds to enjoy that win because Drew cleaned his clock.
All over him. Yep.
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 And a really interesting way to end the show after that, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, Drew puts Seth's head against the
The steps, right?
the no
Ring
the
post.
ring post. Yep. And
Yep.
then Sammy comes running out. Sammy helps until Sammy gets thrown into the stairs. Drew takes out Sammy, gets in the ring with Seth, and then Sammy, dude, him in this damn kick. He hit Roman in the face when he didn't mean to, and then he just
Yep.
cleaned Seth's clock. What a
Yep.
kick. You heard that thing from the outside the building.
Yep. Uh,
Oh.
so this furthered my suspicions of a Sammy heel turn.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, man, this is like the most Sammy's been on an episode of anything. He was on this show several times.
Sammy
And
was,
I like it. I like that people are like woven throughout these shows.
yeah, Sammy was definitely the main character of this week's show.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
100%. Yeah, and I mean they're either setting Sammy up to turn heel or they're setting Sammy up to inevitably win a belt.
Yep.
I feel like those are the two options you got with where we're at with him. And hopefully it's
I
the
feel like
set.
this. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say hopefully it's the second one because they just turned Sammy face. What, like 2 years ago? I feel like he just got his old music back.
Yep.
So, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Seth's gonna not be very happy. That's for sure.
I would agree. And I think that this is the type of thing that makes the Rumble really, really interesting as we've gotten almost a whole year now into the Paul Levesque era.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people woven into so many stories that, like, I'm going to be so invested in who eliminates so many of these guys because it could be any number of people. There's just so many people with beef,
Right.
with so many others.
Yeah.
Like this Drew, Punk, Steph, Sammy, Roman thing
Mm-hmm.
is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's so good. You brought it up earlier that Cross was in the background of Sammy and Seth.
Yeah.
I thought about this earlier, like during the show. I wonder if they're setting up Sammy and Cross for Mania.
Oh man, I feel like Sammy could do so much more.
Yeah, he could.
Cross needs something big so bad though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, because like again, what else is he gonna do? Kevin
Yeah.
again? I mean, we've already
Only if there's the belt involved. Only if
only if
Kevin
there's
beats
a
Cody.
right, right. I
Yeah.
agree. We just seen him wrestle Drew. We've just seen him wrestle Seth. So unless it's a heel turn on Jay, like you know what I'm saying, I feel like Cross is out. It might feel a step down for Sammy, but it's a massive step up for Cross.
Huge.
So I'm kind of okay with it.
And Sammy's, done that at a few manias.
Yeah.
It wasn't that many manias ago he was fighting a jackass cast, so
Right, which was such a good match.
yeah, it's kind of funny.
Way better than it had any right to be.
Yeah.
All right, man. That was Raw. Do you have any other opinions or
No,
comments to make?
after reviewing it, I think I enjoyed parts of it more than I was originally thinking. But man, I just get more and more excited for the Rumble with every episode, and I cannot wait. I'm a sucker for the Rumble.
Yeah. No, me too. I talked about it with Genesis. We're probably not gonna stream live even the pay-per-views on YouTube, just because the way that the algorithm works. But what I think we might try to do is stream on Twitch.
Okay.
So that
Yeah.
way, at least we can stream on somewhere where it's not going to affect our YouTube views. And then maybe
Yep.
eventually kind of simulcast them at the same time. But I still got to figure out a bunch of stuff with that. So I'm working on that. I'm going to try to get that done before Saturday. But yeah, man, I mean, I kind of feel the same way you just said, which is I left the show last night. I was like, that's okay. I was kind of having trouble trying to decide the thumbnail and stuff like that. But after we talk about it, I feel like it was a better show than I thought it was last night.
Yeah. I
So
think sometimes I'm just so tired by the end of it, especially on days I have to work. Like sometimes SmackDown's really tough for me because I generally have worked an 11 or 12-hour day, and that's the one night we get right into the review.
right, you can tell the difference between the Raw review, the SmackDown review. That's for sure.
Yeah.
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 All right, man. That's it.
But,
I know I've said this the last 2 weeks, and it hasn't happened. We're gonna try to be here on Thursday to do the AEW review. We're gonna
shows how much we care about AEW. Who said that, man?
That was weird. I
Who
don't know
said
where that came from.
Oh man, me neither.
We'll probably try to do a quick rundown of NXT if anything notable happens, and yeah, man. So that's it. We'll see everybody on Thursday afternoon. All right. I'll talk to everyone later. Peace.
Peace.